Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to read a part of C.W. Hobley's book, Bantu, Belief and Magic. And in this part, he seems to suggest to us, especially people living in Kenya in 2025, as to why you might find some Agikuyu people have a lot of problem with selling their ancestral land. Of course, it's generally the case that in most African societies, people are not find it very difficult to sell ancestral land because it is not their land per se. Often they are thought of as trustees. They are holding the land on behalf of the family, of the lineage. So your grandfather left land to your father, who left it to you. You are supposed to leave it to your kids, and then they will leave them to their own children. And often that's the belief. So people find it very hard to sell the ancestral land. And sometimes I remember recently went somewhere in Nairobi County actually, and I see this place is a prime land, and the people you ask around, the people have titles. These are people who've owned the land long before Kenya became independence, or maybe immediately after. And there's no much development going on there, development in terms of new real estate being built, things like that. The land is just like it has been for the last 20, 50 years. And I was wondering, why don't these people do construction, and why don't these people, if they don't have the money, which is obvious the case for most of them, why can't they just sell this? These are very prime land in the city and just move on to other places. Nobody had an answer to that, but everybody will tell you these people don't sell land. That is, they don't sell land. It's not something that is very common in that part of Nairobi. And maybe you know where I'm talking about if you've been a resident of Nairobi. And then reading this book, I came to a part that might give us answers to why that is so. This is where Hobley discusses what is called as the dying curse. And he says that the dying curse is found among the Agikuyu and also among the Akamba, and it's also found among the Luo. Actually, he says it's found among the Luo. That's another place where he saw that form of a curse. And even among the Swahili of the coast, they have it. Now, he says that this curse is called Kirume in Agikuyu, and it's a very powerful curse. And it's the only curse that you'll need the intervention of the highest level of the ruling class, that is the Athuri ya Uku, to help you overcome that curse. Even though there are other ways you can deal with it, but he says this is one of those curses, very few curses that you'll need the intervention of the highest level of the Agikuyu Council of Elders, is often called. And he says, and then he talks about land. This is what he says. The general idea is that a dying person can put a curse upon a property belonging to him, or can lay a curse upon another person, but only upon the person belonging to his own family. Thus, for example, the head of a village, when dying, can lay a curse on a certain plot of land owned by him, and will that it shall not pass out of the family. And if a descendant sells it, his speedy death is said to follow. A case recently came to the author's knowledge where an elder was offered a very tempting sum of a particular piece of land, an equivalent land elsewhere, but he refused it because the property had come down to him with Kirume on it. So this says that somebody about to die will put a curse or a Kirume on a piece of land, and he will declare that this land should always remain in the family. It should never go out of the family. And he says there was this elder who was offered very good amount of money, and he was told, we are going to pay you this amount of money, and we are going to give you a piece of land of the same size elsewhere. But he declined, and he said, no, I can't do that, because this land came down to me from somebody who had put a Kirume on it, meaning this land, I'm just holding it as a trustee, basically, and I just need to pass it on to my children, who also are expected to pass it on to their own children, and they should not sell it. He continues, this is very interesting revelation, because when one comes to consider it, in all probability, it is the genesis of a last will or testament. So that is very powerful, and I'm thinking there must be people, even alive today, who still hold land, and they believe or they know from their ancestors, that land was put on Akirome, basically meaning that they are not supposed or allowed to sell it or to pass it on to people who are not from their own family. And that could explain why some pieces of land that seem to be in very prime areas in Nairobi, and they have titles. It's not that, of course, there are lands that are grabbed land, public land, but these are lands that actually have titles, and the people on them are not doing very well financially for the most part. And your quick assumption will be it is a better deal for them maybe to sell this piece of land. Maybe if they have a quarter an acre, they are likely to fetch maybe even over 100 million shillings. And you look at the way they live in, you can say, poverty, and you're like, maybe if they sold that 100 million and they get another piece of land somewhere maybe for 2-3 million, they have a lot of money still remaining for them. Some of them are aging people to live very comfortably, maybe, but they choose not to. They hold on to the land, and I think maybe this is part of it. I would like to hear in the comment section if you have any ideas about this. I would really like to read your comments. So yeah, so those are my random thoughts.